Fire. In 326 BCE, the most successful conqueror in history met the one opponent who would break his momentum forever. Fire. I have studied Alexander the Great for years, and the Hydaspes is the battle that changes everything you think you know about him. Fire. Alexander was 30 years old and had never lost a single battle. Fire. He had crushed the Persian Empire, the largest the world had ever known. Fire. He had marched his army from Greece to the edges of the map. Fire. He had crossed the Hindu Kush in winter, something his own generals thought was suicide. Fire. He had been declared a god by the oracle at Siva in fire, and he believed his conquest had no limit. Fire. Before him lay India, the fabled land of riches that Greek travelers had described for centuries. Fire. The Indus River marked the boundary of what any Greek had ever. Fire. Beyond it lay kingdoms that had never heard of Greece or Macedonia or Alexandria. One of those kingdoms was ruled by a man named Fire. Porus was not a minor Raja ruling a few. Fire. He stood nearly 7 feet tall according to Greek. Fire. He ruled the prosperous land between the Hydaspes and Aegean River. Fire. His kingdom was wealthy, his army was formidable, and his courage was absolute. Fire. When Alexander sent envoys demanding his submission, Porus replied with a single sentence. Fire. Come and take it yourself. Fire. The Hydaspes river was wide and fast and swollen with fire. On the opposite bank, Porus had positioned his army and 200 war elephants. Fire. Alexander could see the elephants from his camp. Fire. They were larger than anything his men had ever faced. Fire. Greek soldiers who had shattered Persian immortals and crushed Scythian horsemen stared at these grey mountains of flesh and felt genuine fear. Fire. The elephants could smell horses from a mile away and would trample their own lines to reach them. Fire. Alexander studied the river. Fire. He knew a frontal assault across a monsoon-swollen river against elephants was suicide. Fire. So he did what Alexander always. Fire. He found the impossible angle. Fire. For nights, he marched his troops up and down the riverbank, making enough noise to convince Porus he was crossing. Fire. Porus moved his elephants to match. Fire. It was a decoy and Porus fell. Fire. Then Alexander took a hand-picked force and slipped away under cover of a thunderstorm. Fire. He found an unguarded crossing point 17 miles upstream. Fire. The crossing was a nightmare. Fire. The river was raging, the rain was blinding, the horses were terrified. Fire. But Alexander's men trusted him with their lives because he had never failed them. Fire. By dawn, Alexander had crossed the Hydaspes with 6,000 infantry and 5,000 cavalry. Fire. Porus realized too late that the main threat was no longer in front of Fire. He sent his son with 2,000 cavalry and 100 chariots to delay Alexander. Fire. It was a sacrificial move. Fire. Alexander's companion cavalry shattered the Indian force in under an hour. Fire. Porus' son died in that skirmish. Fire. When news of his son's death reached Porus, he did not retreat. Fire. He formed his army for battle on a flat plain near the fire. His infantry formed a massive square in the center. Fire. His 200 war elephants formed a wall in front of the infantry, spaced 100 feet apart. Fire. His cavalry guarded the flank. Fire. It was an impregnable formation. Fire. Alexander looked at it and smiled. Fire. This was what he lived for. Fire. He split his cavalry into two. Fire. He sent Coenus with the right wing on a wide flanking maneuver hidden by the terrain. Fire. He himself led the companion cavalry on the left wing, directly in front of the Indian cavalry. Fire. The battle began when Alexander charged. His horse Bucephalus was now 20 years old, grey around the muzzle, but still the fiercest war horse in the army. Fire. Alexander did not attack the elephant. Fire. He attacked the Indian cavalry on the flank. Fire. The Indian horsemen, outmatched by the companions, tried to withdraw behind the elephant line. Fire. That is exactly what Alexander wanted. Fire. The elephants, already nervous from the thunder and rain, now had panicked cavalry crashing into their formation. Fire. The drivers lost control. Fire. The elephants rampaged, trampling friend and foe alike. Fire. The massive beasts threw their mouths, gored men with their tusks, and crushed bodies under feet the size of shields. Fire. It was chaos. Fire. The kind of chaos Alexander had. Fire. While the elephants ran wild through the Indian center, Coenus appeared on the right flank. Fire. He had marched his cavalry entirely around the Indian position and now attacked from behind. Fire. The Indian army was surrounded. Fire. But Porus did not break. Fire. He fought from atop the largest elephant on the fire. Greek arrows rained down on him, but he refused to dismount. Fire. His elephant was hit again and again. Fire. The creature, loyal to the end, knelt down gently so its master would not. Fire. Porus, bleeding from multiple wounds, climbed down and stood on the battlefield alone. Fire. The battle was over. Fire. Alexander rode across the field of dead to meet. Fire. He had heard of Porus' height, but seeing it in person still shocked him. Fire. This man was a giant, wounded and exhausted. But fire. Alexander asked him the question he asked every conquered king. Fire. How do you wish to be treated? Fire. Porus looked down at the conqueror of the known world and spoke 3 words. Fire. Like a king. Fire. Alexander was silent for a long moment. Fire. Then he did something he had never done for any defeated enemy before. Fire. He restored Porus to his throne. Fire. He not only let him keep his kingdom but added more territory to it. Fire. Alexander, who had burnt Persepolis to the ground and executed the satrap Bessus for daring to claim the Persian throne, looked at this Indian king and saw an equal. Fire. The Greek historians wrote that from that day Porus became one of Alexander's most loyal allies. Fire. He governed his expanded kingdom in Alexander's name for the rest of his life. Fire. Alexander's horse Bucephalus died shortly after the battle. Fire. Some say from wounds sustained in the charge. Fire. Others say simply from old age, having carried the greatest conqueror in history for over 2 decades. Fire. Alexander founded a city on the battlefield and named it Bucephala after his horse. Fire. He founded another across the river and named it Nicaea for victory. Fire. Then he prepared to march deeper into India. Fire. But his army had reached its limit. Fire. They had been fighting for 8 years. Fire. They had marched 11,000. Fire. They had crossed mountains, deserts, rivers and battlefields without number. Fire. And now they had heard what lay ahead. Fire. The Nanda Empire on the Ganges plain had 200,000 infantry, 20,000 cavalry, and 6,000 war elephants. Fire. If 200 elephants had nearly broken them at the Hydaspes, 6,000 was unimaginable. Fire. The army mutinied. Fire. Not in rage but in exhaustion. Fire. They simply could not go on. Fire. Alexander raged in his tent for 3 days, refusing to see anyone. Fire. Then he emerged and announced they would turn back. Fire. It was the first retreat of his career. Fire. And it was not an enemy army that defeated. Fire. It was his own men, his own limits, and perhaps a king named Porus who had shown him that even victory could taste like defeat. Fire. Alexander would die 3 years later in Babylon at the age of 32. Fire. His empire fragmented immediately. Fire. But the memory of the Hydaspes lived on. Fire. Greek writers told the story for fire. Indian oral traditions preserved it in a different form, recording a great battle where a foreign invader was stopped. Fire. The exact location of the battlefield is unknown today. Fire. The Hydaspes is now called the Jhelum River, flowing through modern Fire. There is no monument marking where Alexander and Porus met. Fire. Just a river that remembers nothing but carries the memory in its name. Fire. 2 kings, 2 civilizations. Fire. One refused to bow even in defeat. Fire. The other learned that some enemies are too worthy to destroy. Fire. The Hydaspes was not Alexander's greatest victory. Fire. It was the moment he discovered that conquest has an edge, and beyond that edge lies the limit of even the greatest ambition.